Welcome to part 2 of our little fall journal here. So in part 1, we made these signatures. All of these images are from the Digital Collage Club. I will list all of the kits in the description box below for you. So we put together these pages. We customized them to make them uniquely ours. So we have 3 signatures. And today we're going to add some decorations, make some clusters, and obviously this still also needs a cover. Let's do this. So for the clusters, I have printed another kit here. This is called Cozy Fall Fussy Cuts, and there are 7 pages. I have printed them 2 pages per sheet, meaning each sheet is now 50% of the original size. So we have a lot of fun images to work with here. And I also printed this page here again at 50%, printing 2 pages on 1 sheet. These are called Autumn Blessings, and I plan on using these round ones here for my clusters, and maybe we'll use some of these as well as maybe tuck spots or pockets or something like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is start fussy cutting, and then I'll see you back here. So I have fussy cut and inked up some of the images. They are relatively small, of course, because we have everything at 50%, and these pages are also small, so we can't have these very large, especially the leaves. They were a lot of fun to cut out and ink up, as you can imagine. But now we have a lot of fun stuff to play with. And as my base for my clusters, I have 2 different things. So the first thing is I used 2 different die cuts to cut some circles out of German book pages. So we have some round ones, and then I also have some rectangular ones using the same Tim Holtz fabric that we used here on our pages. Another element I want to incorporate is postage stamps. So I have my album here, which is organized by color, which makes it very easy now to pick colors that will work with our autumn theme. Then I have my little boxes with scraps. Can definitely use some of these. I have these here. Most of these are netting from the supermarket. For example, this is what potatoes are packed in sometimes. It's a very soft material. This is also either potatoes, just a different kind, or onions, I'm not sure. And then this one is for lemons. So these all came in these colors. I did not dye these. And then I also have some cheesecloth, which I dyed with forest moss distress oxide. So we have a nice autumnal selection here. And I also prepared some beautiful threads that should go really well with our clusters. Okay, let's start with round ones. Maybe we do 3 at a time. Not too many to not get too confused or overwhelmed. I actually don't know if it makes more sense to start with the focal point you want to have on top, or whether to just start building up from the bottom and then pick whatever focal point will work on top. Let's try building it up from the bottom. So we have some nice scraps here. I'm just trying to figure out how similar do I want these. Well, we do want them cohesive, obviously. So let's just do the same for these 3. I mean, obviously they're going to be different, but you know what I mean. We'll use the same materials. Oh, this works perfectly. You maybe can't see, but this was a golden leaf. That is perfection. The color also works really well. Tea bag labels. Those could be really fun. maybe cut that twine down later. Let's do another one of those. Actually, I'll cut it down now because I can already see this annoying me. I also have this. This is from a palm tree. This could be very interesting. Oh, I like that. So this came from Egypt. My hubby brought this for me. Oh my goodness, it makes a huge mess. Let's put this one underneath. Of course, I don't want to make these too bulky. This is actually already fairly bulky with all these fibers. Yeah, it's better if I just take the top layer, because look, on one side they go this way, on the top side then they go this way. So if we just take one layer, that makes it a lot thinner. Can we do that here as well? Just take these off. Oh my goodness, that's actually really easy. Look at that. Yeah, that makes a huge difference. Then let's add some stamps. These would be fun already on their own without anything else. Okay, let's figure out our focal points. Let's do pumpkin here. Mushroom. Maybe 2 mushrooms. Right on the queen's face. How about that? And this one could maybe just get one of these. Nope, those are too big. So let's do some leaves on that one. They do get quite bulky still. Let's add some twine underneath. Let's take this olive one. Oh no, what did I do? I destroyed my cluster. No. Should I take it as a sign that this is not good? Looks totally different now, right? Doesn't matter. So let's add a bunched up olive thread under here. Oh yeah, that is cute. Let's add some maroon thread under the mushrooms. And some orange thread under the pumpkin. I find the easiest way to glue all these pieces down is top to bottom. Tweezers help for when you have small sizes like we do now. Whoops. I would not have the patience to go bottom up. Oh, look, I forgot this piece here. I thought this kind of looked empty, but actually maybe I like it better like this. See, because when you go top to bottom, they start sticking together, and then you can just add glue without everything moving all the time. You know what I mean? So these are all glued together, and I'm just wondering whether they would benefit from some of this mesh underneath. So let's cut some and find out. Oh yes, this one definitely does. Love that. So I have my first 3 done. I will continue making some more and then show you the results. Have I mentioned I really don't enjoy the gluing part, but you know, when they're all done like this, then they make me happy. So I have 12 in total now. These were the 3 that you've already seen. And even though this is not a color palette I usually go for, I'm really enjoying the combination of all these autumnal colors. But of course, we're missing one essential thing. Yes, you got it. It's gold splatters. because that definitely adds some magic. So let's put these on the side to dry. And then I also cut these. Remember, these were the squares. And as you can see, I left 2 and 2 attached because I thought how fun would it be to make a little booklet as ephemera out of these. But of course we don't want to leave the insides blank like this. I considered collaging on these, but it would just make them more bulky. So I'm just going to add some oxide sprays in our color palette that we have chosen also already for our pages. I'm going to start off by just misting the paper so that the oxide will spread more easily. Let's start off with some rusty hinge. I do not want this turning into mud, so I am going to be cautious. Next, let's add some fossilized amber and a bit of fired brick and some forest moss. Ooh, ooh. Let's add some more water so it can run a little bit more, not too much. As I said, I don't want mud. I think that looks pretty cool actually. Let's leave that. And that's the second one. These will lighten up once they dry. And then I'm just going to take a blank piece of paper and mop up some of this. Who knows what we can do with that. Ooh, that looks really yummy. Wow, love that. Then let's sprinkle those with gold as well. And then I'm going to take our piece of, whoops, shoot. Our piece of paper that we just dipped into the leftover oxides and mount that onto a cardstock to make it thicker. And I know now why these colors turned out so well. That's because this was not a regular copy paper. It was a matte photo paper. Because on a copy paper, these colors would not be as vibrant. I love this. So I will take this to my die cut machine and see what fun images we can make out of that. So I have made the most of this sheet. Look at this. Look at all the things that I was able to get from that one sheet, which actually happened more or less by accident. Definitely not planned that. So I'll share which die cut sets I used for this. They are still too plain for me, but I love them. And I can't get over the fact that this looks so much like a bird, doesn't it? Like the eye and the beak. I can never see this flower and not see this bird. It is so funny. So we'll be adding something else to these. So let me share which die cut sets I used. We have this one, which is called Small Tattered Florals with the number 661806. These big flowers are from this one here. These are called Wildflower Stems number 2 with the number 664164. And these butterflies are from this set here. I actually only used the smallest butterfly because I think the others are just too big for this little journal. These are called Flutter and have the number 662269. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, is ink up all of my edges, again using walnut stain and this little finger dauber. I think with the big ones, with these, I think it's very hard to get into all of these little details. So this is what they look like once I've inked up all of the edges. Did I enjoy that? No. But I do think it's worth it. I just think they stand out a lot more. The shapes are a lot more defined. And good thing that I mounted the dyed paper onto cardstock, because there is no way I could have inked up the edges if these were not as sturdy as they are. So the next step I want to do is to add some stamping onto them. Maybe not all of them, I'm not sure yet. And the stamp sets I'm going to use is the Tim Holtz Ticket Booth set and the Tim Holtz Field Notes set. Needless to say, I couldn't stop once I started. I think these have so much character now and they're really fun. So I'm looking forward to using these on the pages. So next I want to continue with these two little booklets. So first I'm going to fold them in half. I'll ink up this middle edge as well. So let's put something inside here. I have printed these Fantastic Forest. Again, these are 50%, so normally they would be double the size. So we have this cute washi tape here. Look at these adorable hedgehogs. Oh my goodness, they're so cute. Then we have these cute journaling cards. So I'll cut out 2 of these washi strips. So I have 3 of them here. They are just the cutest. And I want these to be like tuck spots. What I'm not going to do is just put it on the bottom like this and then fold it, because that's going to create a resist when I fold this booklet, which I don't want. So I am going to cut these a little bit shorter so that I don't have anything going over that middle crease. Oh my goodness, I cannot even cut the smallest piece straight. That's why I always use my paper cutter, because I just can't do it. Okay, there's one. Maybe take a different one. They're not the same height. I need to cut this one down. Yep, that's better. And then I want to even try to make like a partial circle here for the opening. It's totally not necessary. I just think it would be cute. Again, these are printed out on cardstock and not on regular copy paper. That just makes everything so much easier and sturdier. Okay, let's ink these up. And then we can glue them down. And for this booklet, I'll do them sideways and I'll use these cute mushrooms here. Then we have these adorable little tickets. Again, this is half size. This is Fantastic Forest Folio page 4. So I'll cut, I guess, 2 of these out. Okay, I had to do them all because they're just too cute. Look at these. They're adorable. Okay, I will figure out how to add these, and I thought maybe I would add some of these that I have left over in the pockets as well. I will also add all of these elements to the pages, and once I have that done, we're going to make the cover together, and then you'll see a flip through of the final journal. Okay, so I have finished decorating all the pages, so you'll see that once they're bound into the book. And I've also taken my signatures to the sewing machine and stitched the pages together. You don't have to do this. I just wanted to make sure that they're all in place. They're just easier to handle that way, but that is definitely not a must. It's so liberating to have these all together and to know that they're not going to come apart now. So, the cover. I found this book in my stash. I got this secondhand, I don't remember, either at a flea market or at a second-hand store. It's an absolutely beautiful cover. The size, I think, is perfect for our signatures. If you don't have a cover that has the right size, you can always make your own from thicker cardboard or cardstock. You could even paint it the color you wanted. In this case, I'm lucky because I have this. And it's been actually a really long time since I have used a hardcover book. So let us take this apart. You see, it is already kind of falling apart. So if you've never done this before, you just take a craft knife or a box knife and you can separate the papers from the cover usually quite easily. See, it's already coming apart anyway. Then we do the same thing from the back side. This only works well with these older books where the spine is not glued onto the outer spine. Usually you have a gap here when you find older books. So we can put this to the side. We won't be needing it for this project. Take this out. This will be beautiful in a collage. We will be making our own spine because this one here, besides the fact that it is flimsy, it's a bit wide. So I will cut this off. This I'm also going to keep, of course. This is also great for either a tuck spot or as part of a collage, or maybe to add to, you know what? Maybe we can actually use this spine now. Let's see. So now I just want to make sure that you see here now this is not very pretty, so I want to cut this straight. So that's the back cover. And we also straighten the front. So we have our signatures. So they would go in like this approximately. We have some things peeking out, which is perfect. And I want to add this one here, which is from the ephemera pack as well, Autumn in My Heart, on top here. You know, I'm so torn about this because on one hand, I want the cover to mirror what I have on the inside. But on the other hand, this is so gorgeous. Schiller was a German writer. And I mean, the writing is so beautiful and this whole label is just so gorgeous that I'm having a hard time covering it up. So maybe as an alternative, let's try adding some of the leaves on the corners and see if maybe we just do that and not touch that label. No, I'm not feeling that. If we take the bigger leaves off, just have the small ones. Just a hint of fall. That's better. So I have actually glued these on now, so I can't change my mind again. I decided I'm not going to use this because since this doesn't have so much fall on it, maybe we can add some fall on the spine. I don't know. So I want to make my spine with fabric, but of course fabric alone is not sturdy enough. And I need a different fabric than we have here because this I don't think fits very well to the cover. But I think this one does. So this is one of my favorites. It's by Seth Apter and it's called Possible. It says it here as well. Yeah, that goes together really well. And the material I'm going to use for the spine is canvas. I find this, if I'm lucky, at Action. It's 280 grams. You get 10 sheets. It's primed with gesso already. You can also find these canvas pads on Amazon, but you can also use packaging. You could use a paper bag if it's sturdy enough. One of these grocery paper bags that I usually use for making my planners would be sturdy enough. Tyvek, something like that. As long as it's flexible but sturdy, it's going to work. So I have a piece of canvas here, which I need to cut down. And since these edges are not very pretty, and by the way, we have to do something with these insides as well, I'm going to have my spine go over this cover. I feel like there's not enough room here for it to hold well. I would be afraid that that would come off with time because I really only have this little area right here to glue it on. I don't trust that. Which means that we need to get rid of this here and maybe even take more care into cutting this really straight, and then maybe even painting these edges. Okay, so I've cleaned up this edge even more. So now we have a nice looking edge. This here, I don't mind. I think it adds to the character. So now I just need to clean up this edge here as well. So both of my edges are now cleaned up. So now I'm going to try to mix a color which is as close to the red as possible. I am taking these colors by Amsterdam: Carmine, Turquoise Blue, and Raw Umber. Oh, that's a lot of blue. It's getting too dark. Let's add some Pyrrole Red. Yes, this is looking good. Yeah, I think that will do nicely. So I'll just go along the edge here. I have no idea yet what we'll do for the inside covers. Baby steps, we'll figure it out. Let's take it off the front. Doesn't need to be there. Just using a damp baby wipe. Okay, so that's one, and I'll do the same with the other one. So while those dry, we can figure out our spine. Actually, I need the height. So I want exactly the same height as my cover. And for my width, I want approximately as much as this fabric is here to go around. So let me tell you, this is almost 6 centimeters or approximately 2¼ inches. So I will just cut this out. I decided to cut 2 of them because one still seems a bit too flimsy. So I want to double that up and make it more sturdy. I'm just going to use regular tacky glue to glue these 2 pieces onto each other. The glue will add even more stability once that hardens. And then I'm going to tear 2 pieces from this fabric, one for the front, one for the back. And I'm cutting this a little bit wider than my canvas because I don't want the canvas showing. So now I can again take some tacky glue, thin it down with water because it's not really liquid enough to use as it is. And then we'll add that to our canvas, or you add it on your paper bag or packaging, whatever you have. And then we'll add it to our fabric. And we do the same for the other side, of course. And I'm also adding the glue on the edge of my fabric because I want that fabric to glue together as well. That's a good spine now. I can feel the weight. Just make sure there's no wrinkles. This is going to be a nice, sturdy spine. So going back to our inside covers, let's pretend our spine is here. Actually, it's going to be on the inside, right? So like this approximately. I think it would make the most sense to stay with the same fabric. So this will be underneath. Like that. So we'll do the same thing. We'll just add our glue here and then add our fabric. And going around it with a piece of cloth is very important because this tacky glue is glossy, but by rubbing it away while it's still wet with my cloth, we won't have any glossy areas afterwards. So that's one done, and we'll do the same thing with the front part. And finally, we're going to add our spine. This time I'm putting glue directly onto my book cover because this really needs to hold well. I don't want to thin it down. I want it to be as strong as possible. Actually, before I would do this, usually I would double and triple check that the covers are the right side up. Would not be the first time I've glued something upside down. So if that happens to you, you're not alone. So let's make sure this is somewhat straight. So I'm overlapping approximately 1 centimeter, maybe a little bit more. Let's burnish it a little. So before we add our signatures, this really needs to dry. I just want to very carefully make sure that it's lined up. Yeah, it is. Okay, so this needs to dry. It's about 5 hours later. I can feel that this has dried and this has become very stiff, which is exactly what I was hoping for. It also seems like this is on really strong. I'm not worried about this coming off at all, so that's great. I would like it to be a little more flat than round. Let's see what it will do on its own then. So for the signatures, I am really tempted to just sew them in with my sewing machine. I will actually attempt that. This is quite thick. I have a Toyota Jeans sewing machine which is made for sturdy materials like denim. So if you don't have something like that, I would strongly suggest you just use a regular 3 or 5 hole pamphlet stitch, or use what other stitch you are comfortable with. Let's see if I can do this. I'm a bit nervous because once you start and then you realize after sewing 2 in that the third one is not going to go in because you can't get close enough with the foot. Because obviously I only have this part here and my foot needs to stay away from this edge here. Let's just see what happens. No risk, no fun, right? Okay, so I just sewed through the middle signature I decided that was easiest because that way at least I know now where the middle is and I can evenly space the other two signatures. I attached it with these large paper clips. So the first one is in. We can see the stitching here. Let's do the first one. So again, I'm attaching it with these large paper clips. And I tried to position it so that it's, I think, about 1 centimeter left of the middle signature. It's really hard to see if they're straight. I have a feeling it's not totally straight. But the good thing is that since these stitches are so small and since I'm using black thread, we can't really see when it's a little off on the front, you know. I'm trying to feel here on the back if it's an even distance from this edge here. Let's hope for the best. I'm sure there's a more precise way to do this. Let's do this. It is struggling a bit. I can feel it. I'm so sorry, sewing machine. Could be worse. It's not so bad. It's just so much quicker than hand stitching this. Yes, I like it. So here we see they're about 1 centimeter apart from each other. So now we just need the third one. Wow, this is so quick compared to sewing this by hand. I really had to push that book forward so that it would move. This is not something for weak nerves. Okay, let's take this off. Looks good here. Wow, it's better than I thought it would be. So let's check again. Here, also not bad. Let's check the spine. Hey, not bad at all, huh? It's not perfect. Does it need to be perfect? No. Oh, this was so quick. Huge fan, huge fan. So I'm trying to decide whether I want anything on the spine or not. Somehow I'm not really feeling it. What do you say? Let me know in the comments below whether you would go with or without. I just love this fabric so much that I don't really want to put anything on top. I want to be able to see it. So I would say this is done. So let me share a quick flip through. I think the additions that I made are self-explanatory, so please enjoy a silent flip through. And I have decided to put this journal up for sale. And you can find it in my shop on Monday, October 7th at 7 p.m. Central European Time. I will add that also in the description box under this video. I hope you enjoyed these downloads from the Digital Collage Club. I think this kit is super cute. I love the fall vibes so much, and these cute little creatures that we have here, these little acorns and mushrooms, they're just adorable. Just in case you haven't watched part 1, because there's always a confusion of what are my digitals and what is a design team project. So just as a reminder, this is a design team project for the Digital Collage Club from Making and Creating. I am a design team member and I make projects with images from that membership site once a month. Thank you so much for watching. Love you guys. Mwah! Mwah!